I know your speech anxiety. It may be hard and it may be killing you, but let me show you how Avatar: The Last Airbender can help you with that. When it comes to TV shows, there's a lot you can learn. And with this one, it's probably two things you're wondering. The first one being, what can this show teach me about speech anxiety? And the second one being, how did I miss it while watching the show? Watch this video to the end and you will get both of those answers. And if you're not familiar with what Avatar is, it's about this young guy who has to master all four elements, earth, fire, wind, and water, in order to bring balance to the world and save the world from the Fire Nation and all of this good stuff. But the thing is, with mastering each element, he has to learn them one at a time, master it, and then go on to the next one. Similar to what we're about to talk about. How can it help you with speech anxiety? Well, similar to that guy having to master all four elements, with speech anxiety, you're going to be mastering three elements. The three elements would be breathing, sound, and articulation. With all three of these, it's what you need in order to actually speak, or for actual words to come out of your mouth. And the same way you have to master those would be the same way you do with this, except with these, you don't have to master them completely in order to speak, but the better you get at each one, the better you'll be able to speak. And when you're able to speak better, you'll worry less. When you worry less, you'll be confident by default whenever you speak. And on top of that, once you get better at that, you'll be able to speak louder, you'll be able to speak clearer, you'll be able to speak more confidently, and you won't have any problems with speaking at all. Nor will you question yourself when you try to speak. But the part where Avatar comes in and it helps with speech anxiety is sound bending. You know how in the show where he's an airbender, where he's able to control the air, but with sound bending, it would be the same thing except slightly different. When it comes to sound bending is talking. Why I call it sound bending? Well, which one sounds cooler? Saying that you're about to practice sound bending or about to go practice talking? Most likely sound bending, because it sounds like you have some kind of superpower, when in actuality, it is a bit of a superpower. Depends on how you use it. The reason it's called sound bending though, because you create something from nothing by using your body. I mean, it can be a blank void, no sound, but you use your entire body to produce that sound, and now the sound's coming out of you, out of nothing. And on top of that, you know how you get real serious and real afraid when you're speaking? It would also take the seriousness out of speaking. So when you see, oh, I'm sound bending, does that sound scary at all? Most likely no. You'd be like, oh, I like that. I can sound bend. I can practice 1, 2, 3, practice all the elements, and be like, yeah, getting better at speaking while having fun at it at the same time. It takes the fear out of speaking. If you're having fun while you're speaking, would you really be anxious? Would you really have any kind of anxiety at all? But in order to get better with each element, you have to start with one, get better at that one, then go to the next one, then the next one. Unless you're already good with one of them, and then you would just specifically work on the one that you need help on. I will tell you where I got these elements from as far as sound bending. The breath would be the power behind your voice. If you don't breathe right, you won't be able to speak, because if you try to talk without breath, your voice is gonna get fried pretty much. You won't be able to talk at all, or your voice is gonna go hoarse, or it's gonna be hurting. You don't want to do that. So without the breath, you can't talk. So keep that in mind. That's the first part you will have. Let's call it B. The next element would be sound. You can't speak without sound now, unless you're some kind of mind reader or telekinetic type of person. If that's the case, this isn't for you, my friend. But besides that, you got your breath and you have your sound. You already know what sound is. It's what you hear when the breath comes through your vocal cords and come out of your mouth. And the third element is articulation. It allows you to speak clearly and be heard properly, so that way you're not mumbling or speaking too fast or anything of that nature. So when it comes to using all three of these elements, breath, sound, and articulation, when you begin to mess up on one of them or not using one of them properly, it's going to throw you off completely, and you're not going to speak the best that you possibly can. But the reason you want to do one element at a time is so you know where you stand at, and you can tell where you need to improve at, versus trying to improve all of them at the same time, which could help and it could work, but it would also become more complicated versus going directly to what you need to, and that one thing making everything happen. So when you don't have strong enough breath coming out of you to support your voice isn't going to be as strong. It's going to probably sound weak, or possibly sound timid or even shaky. Tell me if that sounds familiar. Or have you ever tried to speak up or tried to give a speech and you tried to be loud and they didn't really hear you? And now you're like, I don't want to speak up anymore because they're not going to hear me. Or what if they don't hear me again like they did last time? And now you're anxious about it. But don't fret, I'm here for you. If that happens to you and you start to feel like that, just remind yourself that that version of you or that past you didn't know what you know now. They're not watching this video now. You can practice that. That's what you're facing right now. Practice breath control and things along that nature, so you can be louder and you'll be able to be heard the next time, so you don't beat yourself up about it. But when it comes to the sound element, if done right, your voice would be mellow and possibly it could be a mixture of different things, but it will not be monotonic or lifeless. I dealt with that too, and it's not fun. And I know that could make you anxious and be like, I don't want to talk because my voice is boring, or I don't want to talk because nobody's going to listen to me, or I lose their attention, or they don't feel engaged. If that's the case, you don't have to fret no more. You see what you have to work on. Don't run from it now, because it's always going to be there. It's going to catch up to you. But do not be discouraged by that. If anything, be encouraged so you know what to work on, how to go about it. And if you're not sure how to go about it, seek out a vocal coach if that's the case, which will help you in the long run. And with the third element, if you don't have your articulators trained, you'll either mumble, speak too fast, stumble over your words, or you just won't be clearly at all. And you'll be like, what did I do wrong? Or you wouldn't know what you did wrong as far as speaking. But in this sense, like I said before, you know what you have to work on. Don't run from it. Be like, okay, I may not speak as clear as I'd like to speak, but I can take this, work on it, speak more clearly, come back to it. And now you know what's going to happen. You're going to come back and be able to speak clear, easier, with no problem. But when you take all three of these elements and put them together, what do you have? You have a confident version of you that can speak loud, speak clearly, have a nice quality voice that's gonna rock the room, and be able to be like, hey, I did that. I really did that. But you will be more confident, and you won't have to think twice about messing up. You'll be able to be yourself, speak clearly, speak the way you want to speak, deliver whatever you got to talk about, and boom, you're done. So if you ever find yourself being anxious about speaking, whether it be giving a speech or socially anxious or anything, think about sound bending and think about what you need to do. Remember how to use all three of them. That way you can do your best and speak your best and be your best. But hey, it'd be awesome if you subscribed and checked out the next video over here on how to speak up without freaking out. And thank you for watching.